Welcome back to Stationeers, and I've just got a couple of the walls open just because I'm testing. First of all, I'm going to be testing using steel. You can see I've got some gas in the furnace right now, but I'm just going to fill it a little bit more. There we go. 50, 58, 60, 72. We're going to watch for just how fast that fills, because if we're going to put stuff in this, it can fill too slowly if you put the volume pump, which is back there, on to lower setting. So I'm just going to, I need a chute bin or something like that. Where is, I thought I'd got, what have you got in there now? Hydrocarbons. Yep, so we just want some iron. That's gone in. Okay, so it's basically saying it needs more temperature to melt this. You'll see the temperature's dropped right down because we've basically put coal and ore in there. Temperature we've got here is 900 degrees C, which is around 1200 and something. 1100 and something. It's 273, so let's just say 300. It's just below 1200, so it's not going to be too long before those shut off. So let's just fill this a little bit more, add some high temperature in there. Why are you not filling with high temperature? Oh, there you go. Maybe you're just glitching out a little bit. Yeah, because it's actually processing the ore that we put into this. So we are going to just let that continue. Shouldn't be long. Yep, there it goes. It's just processing. And that won't take very much longer. And then it should heat up. Once it heats up at that point, we will be okay to go, I think. So there it is. And so that should be rising up now. Temperature should be rising. For steel, it's not really fussy. Anything above 600 Kelvin or anything above about this sort of area. So if I just shut that off for a second, that should be okay to make steel. No, it's not quite high enough. Every time I stop this, temperature is dropping. Why is that dropping so fast? Is that purely from... I've not got anything else on here, no. It's may just be the amount of gas, but that's very odd. Yep, there we go. So let's just open the mold. Shut this off. And let's just see what happens to this. The temperature is... It's dropping, but it's dropping slowly. And let's see if we can just weld this up now so that we can see if that actually improves any at all. With our various different blocks. Let's just put you in there. And just for reference, that's currently set to 21. That's a fifth of its full power, but I didn't want to overshoot with filling stuff, so I left it on for now. And let's see how well this is doing now. So 283. Yeah, well, as long as there's no ore in it, that's actually reducing a whole lot less. And it's ready for recycling pretty much at this point. So, recycle it is. Close the mold, pull this, and this should start evacuating because our nice little filtration unit up here should be on. Got a good tip from a commenter called Eric, and I will not slaughter your last name, Eric, but instead we can actually put this inside a grid, and I've got a couple of unwelded frames here that we should be able to move this to, but I just want to make sure I've got some steel before I try and do that little operation. And you're empty, so we can just close. And we've got an alloy furnace, which means I can probably deconstruct the other alloy furnace. Now, on the back side of things, on the place where I'm not concerned about temperature at all, I've got this other pipe. Let me just grab my tablet so you can see. So there is the stuff that's coming out of the furnace, and it is 95 degrees. That goes all the way underneath there and heads back the other way. So where it's actually going, just so that you know what's going on, the pipe is coming all the way underneath here, and there's this pipe here. Okay, and it's going into the temperature side, the hot side of this valve. So it will naturally decrease in temperature along with these radiators to the atmosphere around us, which these will then recycle just as they have done previously with the other furnace over there. to be honest, now that we're not going to need that other furnace, where are we? Well, I suppose we can't just remove this pipe because the arc furnaces, yeah, this pipe here, the arc furnaces already feed that other pipe through the back here, but we can remove all of this potentially, and that will clean things up substantially. So yeah, I'm quite fond of that now. More importantly, I'm fond of it because I can use pure CO2 to make it, and I don't need anything. I don't need to go mining for anything to be able to melt alloys. Obviously, the alloy ingredients themselves, but nothing just to power up a furnace. We are going to need, of course, power. There we go. Just weld that back up again. And let's just check how our batteries are doing, because that's what that mining belt has got all the coal in it for. 2 blue, 2 green. Fine. We should be approaching the point where I'm not going to need to keep feeding that. And then we'll have to assess just how good this system is. You'll see it's already dropped in temperature from 900 to 774 with 1 cycle. So whenever you do a cycle, that's going to drop. And I think at the moment, remember, I've got a pressure regulator back here. It's inside. Which block is it? 2 there. So it's going to be inside this block. There's a pressure regulator going from cold to hot. So whenever this gets too low, then it will refill. And as soon as it refills, it's going to refill from this, which has got 4 megapascals in it at the moment. And that is also going to drop the temperature quite severely. So you will see usage of your wall heaters depending on how often you use your alloy furnace. For me, it's not too bad. I'm going to be building more solar panels anyway because I don't want to keep using coal to boost things, but to get things up to a suitable temperature, yeah, sort of a good approach to take. And while we're at it, now that we've just finished that, can we just rework this to isolate this filtration unit a bit more? So if we just grab this and just put it in our backpack for a second and grab a tool like this, we should be able to put it in here in such a way, we don't want the air conditioner, in such a way that the filtration pipes will be inside the block. Otherwise, however, everything else will be outside the block. And I think we're going to have to, there's only one sort of way that, yeah. Sorry about that, the dogs just decided to start barking. This seems to be a decent way to actually get to them. So if we put this here, oh no, I can't put it there because that's the top of the heat chamber, and I need more charge. That's the top of the heat chamber, and I can't actually just remove that to get to the power at the back of this. So I'm going to have to put it 1 block further away. It's not really much of a problem, but just a little bit more work. Let's just put you back here. I'm going to want a couple of steel sheets to just weld that block I'm currently looking at away. Let's just do that. There we go. And let's get to my welder. So we definitely don't want to remove that block at all, ever. So let's just grab you. And we want to put it here. Can we do that without air conditioner, filtration? We can do that without actually welding up the other block, which is going to be good because we're going to be able to access everything from this. And then, of course, we'll be able to put more blocks back here to basically seal everything up. So our input's on this side, which means that it's going to be from, well, it's going to be from that pipe right there. And we'll bring that over and around. Why don't we, should we, oh, I really don't want to weld this up just yet. But we can connect it to power. Yeah, let me go and get a few supplies. Okay, here we are. I've got some supplies now, and we can hook this back up to the power. And then we've got to deal with the waste, the input, and the output, which should be simpler to deal with. Let me just put that away. How much more pipe am I going to need? probably more than 13, isn't it? So maybe we better make more of that, which I'll do off camera. But for the moment, I'm going to need to route this way and maybe in and up into the back, which will probably be the easiest way to get to it. Let's just sort that one out first. Where's my... There we go, and I'm going to have to go this way. Do you want to go this way? Well, actually, just change that for a second. I'm going to go to a corner. Like that, because that means I can probably just leave that block open right here. Or maybe not. No, maybe I'll probably need to seal it up as well. Yeah, so let's get this end in first. Let's just curve this in. Like that, so that's going to be the input. And we should be able to build this fairly straightforwardly. Yeah. And just a couple more pieces, I think. And then once I've just connected this, I'll do the rest off camera. Won't occupy your time more with more piping here. And corner. Okay, so that's the input done. And then we just need to hook up the waste, which I'll probably run along the outside again. We don't care about the waste at all. And I'll run it, you know, sort of, let me just put a pipe down so you get the idea. Waste can come in this way. And then we just got to get the output out this way, and then probably along this middle line here. So we'll have like 3 lines, and we'll just run it like that, and then we should be able to enclose everything. Do remember you need to just reassign this with a screwdriver. So let's just look at the filtration unit in here somewhere. Come on. Filtration. And we want the on the state, so that's working just fine. And then that should be it. So 1 second, and then it should all be complete. Okay, here we go. So we've got everything now enclosed. That's our waste line. Comes straight out of the... Oh, hang on. Wait a second. Have I hooked this up right? This should be our waste line. Yeah, and that's the output. Fine. Yep, that's okay, because we've got CO2. So CO2 is going to go back that way, which we're going to need to isolate and insulate. That's fine. And our waste line is this one, which goes around the outside. And I hate this jetpack with a passion. I want the Space Engineers jetpack where it doesn't launch you every time you actually want to use it. Yeah, so let's just weld this up, and then we should be done with this, I think, which is pretty good by me. Let's just make sure that we can actually access these filters. Yep, access the filters. This will go on and off just fine, and we will just weld up the rest of it. So good tip, Eric. Thanks very much. And just make sure that all of this pipework, or at least the pipework that we care about, is sealed off in blocks. There is a tiny bit there. I guess we could seal that one off as well. It's not going to be much trouble to do so. I was just out of steel in the auto lathe, but I can make one more block. That's not much of a problem. And does this still correctly work? Let's hope it does. So evac furnace. No. No, you're not. Why aren't you working? Is it because I've put this inside a block now? I really hope not. I really, really hope not. But it's entirely possible. Yeah, why? Oh. Yes. I may have torched that. I'm guessing that's exactly what I did. Let's give this a go. Let's just double check. Burnt cable. Yeah. And those of you who saw that, shh. It's just between us. It's fine. Okay. Oh, I hate this jetpack. Why? Why? Developers, why? Let's just try and weld that back up again without the problem this time. Point away from your sensitive circuitry. Are you on? You are on. Good. So you are working. Let's just double check that again. So it turns on and off. Oh my. Yeah, I'm having real issues with this. Yeah, off and back on again. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's not a problem at all. It's working just fine inside blocks, and we've got everything running. So that is probably as insulated as I can get this thing. None of this is really heated pipe now, except for this waste, which we don't actually care about. We want it to actually decrease anyway. And yeah, this one block. So I will just put another block in here and weld it up once I just pick up the steel. What I think we'll also look at this this episode is also, that's 200 G's of steel, is just maybe some lighting systems. I just got a comment saying it seems a bit gloomy, and yeah, once we put the roof on here, and especially once I've welded it up, it's going to be quite gloomy. So I probably want to think about some kind of lights. So I did print off a couple just to see what options we have. There are a few options. Let's just get up here. Oops. And so this is a wall light, but we probably want a ceiling-based light rather than a wall light. And that seems like it's not angled, so that seems like a nice option. Where do we want this though? I don't know. What do you think? What do you guys think? Which way should we run the lights? Sort of want to think maybe that kind of way, and if we put one here and then another one, I don't know, back here. What we could also do, once it's on anyway, is maybe detect daylight with the same kind of, do we have a sensor on? I think I have a sensor. And we don't have to take care, I don't think we need to actually put this outside or anything like that. It will work perfectly fine wherever we put it. So I just wonder if it'll actually work on the ceiling. All I'm concerned about is its activate setting. Just as we, you know, for the power saving system that we have, whether we can just do the same thing for this. So if we put a daylight sensor in, and then, do we actually want this on a separate network? Yeah, probably not, to be honest. We can probably get away without that. So we've already got the non-high temperature cabling for this side of the base. Oh, and that is a good point, actually. Someone did ask in a comment, you know, why have you got all of this in high temperature stuff when clearly there is no need for that amount of power here? You're absolutely right. There isn't any need for that amount of power. However, I'm doing things like, particularly over here, reading the temperature of stuff that's in here. And if I put them on a separate network, then it makes it more troublesome to sort of mirror the values over. You can use things like logic mirrors or a memory unit, like you know, one of our memory chips. And if I do that, then I can put this on all low temperature cabling. But at the moment, they're reading stuff that's on the high temperature, and you can directly connect the two. But as soon as you as soon as you turn on wall heaters like this, technically this will only consume 4 kilowatts, but if I put a couple more in there, it'll be 6 kilowatts potentially. We've got other equipment as well running all over the place, so I don't want to have any of this fail. And for the extra small price in gold, it's not a great expense, to be honest. And yeah, let's just hook this up with the regular low temperature stuff. So up here, we probably want to just run cable three-way junction. Yes. And now, in contrast to the jetpack, I am definitely liking the auto rotate. It's a very, very good idea. And I'm one off, aren't I? But let's just grab that for a second. The jetpack's fine once you're actually up and if you're permanently floating, but I'm not really wanting to do that all the time, so there we go. And we'll just bring that round. I was right the first time. Fine. One and two. And then we can just run straights and junctions. And if we just run junctions there and here, we'll see how this looks. So put it into straight cable. and we'll just extend this roof, I think, just the roof off the entire area whenever we want that. Let's just close this, and they're now connected and powered. Yeah, they should be. So there we go. How does that look? Looks okay to me. Probably want to leave maybe one or two spaces on the inside or something like that, and that should go correctly to either side. It also helps when we're covering this with kit walls. Now we can make those in the auto lathe. Let's just see if they're in here. Kit wall, yeah. So if we do that, we'll just print off a few. I'm not going to do a whole decorating episode. Let's just grab one. I think we have some over here as well. Do I have any left? I do. I do like that from a distance. Looks pretty industrial, but we can always deal with the roof. Let's just close that off for a second. And then if we do something along the lines, we just have to spin this over to the top and rotate, just so this is running this way. Is it steel plate that we need to finish off these? May well be. But the advantage of using kit walls like this is just very reflective, so you can use that quite nicely for ceilings. I normally use the gratings for the floors, but the ceilings are... is it steel sheets? Let's just give this a go. Do I have any of my... No, I don't have any left. I was welding. So let's just put this in place. If it is steel sheets, I think it is. Yeah. So lots of nice reflectivity from the ceiling there, and we can just get that these last few done. And then maybe think about putting a daylight sensor in, or rather, yeah, looks quite nice. I know they're meant for walls, so yeah, but I do quite like them for ceilings as well. Let's put that away. Whoops. All right, so what are we going to do about triggering that to turn on and off? Just, I doubt these are going to consume much power, but it's worthwhile thinking about it anyway. And that should be relatively simple. We can just pick up a reader and a writer, I think. A batch writer and a logic reader should do the job. Have I got some I/O over here, or is it in my backpack? Maybe in a locker. Yeah, that's quite nice. Actually, nice effect on the backing behind the arc furnaces as well. Where's my logic unit? Oh. You know when you need light? Yeah, that's right. Whenever I do any recording, that's exactly when I need light. There we go. Yeah, I've got a couple of I/O units, and that should be pretty simple to do. Let's just drop that for a second. Do I have the rest of those? What did I do with the what did I do with my backpack thing? Where did it go? Did I put it in here somewhere? Ah, there we are. That'll do. Let me just go and sort this out. Now, for some reason, I don't quite know why, the placement of logic chips on the ceiling is sort of finicky. It was changed, and I think it's a developer-specific change. I don't know why, but it just doesn't work very well. So I've just welded a couple of walls so that we can place it easily. And let's just get those sorted. So we just want one logic reader, and that will be fine. Doesn't matter much how we connect this. It is on a sub network, so let's just, and we're not going to be touching anything that is being used by anything else, which is not a logic reader. We want a batch writer. Yep. And then we can just grab our tools. It's just about to come dawn. I was wondering where the light was coming from. There we go. And then we can just run a three-way junction all over the place for these. one there, one a little bit further up, just bounce off the ceiling because of this silly jetpack, and then there we go. So one there, one there, one there, and then just two corners should do the job. Okay, and we probably want to do this for the entire base. So if I just run the lights for the entire base off this one line, and, you know, as we extend the roof, it'll all be controlled by the circuitry. That should do the job. So I'm just going to stay up here. I'm not going to just keep playing with that jetpack. So we want to read the daylight sensor. Got a lot of stuff on the inside of this. Furnace regulator, no. Daylight sensor, and I want the activate mode, and then I'm just going to rename this and say is daylight. Turn that off, and then we'll do just the same thing. We're just going to read the is daylight, and I'll look for it. There it is, and output to wall lights, output to the on setting. And that will turn them on during daylight, which is not what we want. We want the opposite, don't we? I'm going to need a not. Interesting. Is there any quick way to do that? I think I'm going to need a bit more circuitry. 1 second. Okay, so a not gate's relatively simple, so I'm not going to, you know, do too much more cabling on camera. Promise. We've got a compare unit here. We're going to take the is daylight logic reader. We're going to basically make sure it's less than this logic memory, which is set to 1. So if it's less than 1, it turns into 1, essentially. So if it's nighttime, which is where this is 0, that means less than 1, which means this turns into 1, which we can read with the batch writer and turn the lights on, which is exactly what happens now. So when this turns, well, I don't think we're anywhere near daytime, no, we're the middle of the night. You can just tell with your temperature gauge at the very top right of the screen. Just that's a nice indication that I don't need to build a new clock this season. If you've seen the clock last season, it was a bit over the top for we got a clock. We got a perfectly functioning clock. It just took a lot of circuitry to do so. So yeah, now we have a sort of temperature system whereby when it's low you can tell, and when it's like -70, you know you're in the middle of the night somewhere, and you don't need to worry about a clock. So much nicer. In any case, yeah, so we've got that not setting, not gate working, and now everything here is automatic. So do you guys have any ideas for this room? Because we're probably going to need to take out that furnace and its corresponding pipe work and everything else now that we have a full gas furnace. My batteries are low, so I'm just putting another stack of coal on the log burner solid generator. And we're getting up to the right temperature again. So these will shut off eventually. It's just that I used the gas before they got to the right temperature. I think what I may well do as well, this pressure regulator behind the scenes, if we can get to a point where those shut off, I'm just going to watch and see how slowly, now that we've sealed everything off, how slowly the temperature drops. If it's really quite slow, what I may well do is just acquire some more resources. We'll put some more solar panels in, and we'll use the solar panels to keep 4 kilowatts constant into the system. Each solar panel can do about 500 watts, but that's only during the day. So each solar panel have it, let's say. So during a 24-hour cycle, or whatever day and night passes, it's around 250 watts. So that means for 1 kilowatt you need 4 kilowatts you need 16. And of course that's on top of everything else that we've got running in the base. So I've only probably got about 16 total anyway. And that means it's not too bad when it's in daytime, but at nighttime it can drain things. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on that. But I think I'm going to extend that lighting system, as I said. Just we'll run it off the same power rails, and then we'll have, you know, a roof heading over to here. Now I've just done another batch of steel, and I'm not sure where we're going to enclose this at what point yet. The hydroponics bay is sort of in an odd location for this. It's not exactly lined up, so yeah, we'll have to have a think about that. But otherwise, yeah, the base is coming on pretty well, I think. We'll see what we need to do next episode. Speaking of next episode, I think we're going to move back onto these now. We've got a alloy furnace that doesn't require hydrogen and oxygen. we now need a solution for these, and I'm going to be extending this with the other metals, I think. But if you have any ideas for basically getting this automatically feeding into these machines, I think these have been changed now so you can't stack them. So I may have to move them anyway, and we'll have them sort of probably move this locker out here, and then we'll have, you know, our system on this side and outwards there or something along those lines. And then on this side, we'll have whatever we finally decide on feeding into the back of the machines, and we'll have them, you know, maybe up to about here, something like that. What I was also thinking of doing is maybe just having an auto lathe and a pipe bender and electroprint extra, and having them set to the common things. So steel frames, cable, and pipe, and then leaving those on those, because pipe will never get changed. Heavy cable can actually be used a left and right switch, because you can use between regular and heavy just with left and right. And steel frames you can go left and right like here, which should work perfectly well, I think. And then of course we'll have our regular ones that we can choose, you know, from the drop down menus, etc. But other than that, I think we're done. So if you like the episode, feel free to like, subscribe and share. Do leave your comments about ideas about what we can do with this room now. It's pretty much complete otherwise. I may well have another go at improving the arc furnace circuitry. We've got a couple of comments on that in the past. Oh, and there goes our lights. So the system is working perfectly well, and it works from a daylight sensor that will be sealed in eventually, and sort of magical. But other than that, we're pretty fine. So as always, guys, thanks for watching.